Hi everyone, Richard here at Calvin Wazoo with another video and another Frank Zappa video. Not one album at a time. I thought I'm going to do my 20 favorite Zappa albums and go from 20 down to number 1. Now, 3 of the records in this list I have not yet done an individual video on the album. So I will be doing them soon because I am getting to, that era of releases. But I thought I would include them anyway, but I'll definitely be doing videos in the coming weeks about these. And I think you're going to notice a couple conspicuous absences from this top 20 list, of which I will have something to say at the end. So let me get through this. 20 records, it's going to be, I don't want it to be too long. So at number 20 is a release that I haven't done a review on, and that is The Man from Utopia. Now, this record really doesn't get a lot of joy and respect. But quite frankly, for this period of material that Frank was producing, this is a pretty good album. I like it. I especially like Tank Walks Amok. He had a moderate radio hit with Cocaine Decisions. That's a pretty good song. Then there's also, let's see, on side 2, The Man Makes Sex is, pretty funny. And We Are Not Alone. I think that's one of the instrumentals on here. Pretty good album. I'll have more to say about this and also the background on the cover for this particular record. All right, that's number 20, The Man from Utopia. At 19, this is another release that I have not yet done an individual video on, and that is the set Shut Up and Play Your Guitar. So I got the 3-record box set. I did not get the ones individually. All guitar solos. Also includes in here at least one. See, I haven't researched this too closely, but I think it has one of the very few examples of Frank soloing on an acoustic guitar. And of course, one of the favorite guitar solos that I hear a lot of Zappaphiles talk about is Ship Ahoy is on this. But yes, I will be doing a video devoted to this 3-record box set eventually. So that's number 19, Shut Up and Play Your Guitar. All right, at number 18, might be a little bit of a surprise that it's this low, but it's Freak Out. And I get this little note card here because this actually has a label mistake. It's side 2, it has the wrong label on it. They put the label for We're Only In It for the Money instead of Freak Out, but the tracks are all Freak Out. Anyway, this is the Zappa Records reissue. Sounds really good. I have an original mono and original stereo as well. I put it down lower because while it's a great album, an influential album, a really important album in rock and popular music in and of itself, for a lot of different reasons, but which I talk about in the video that I did make on this. But it's, a little bit all over the place. All the songs are really, really good. Trouble Every Day is, probably one of my favorite songs ever. Out of the Zappa catalog. Then there's also It Can't Happen Here, which is, pretty funny. All the people in Kansas. So anyway, Freak Out is number 18. So yeah, probably a little bit of a surprise. This one I think is even going to be more of a surprise that it's so low in my ranking, because this is a record that often gets cited in a person's top 5. And some people even assert it's their favorite of all Mothers of Invention records, and that is Uncle Meat. But I have it at 17. Again, this is a great album, and I have the original release here on Bazaar. Plus, I have the Zappa Records reissue. It's a good album. It's a and I'm I can hear some of you. Oh, this is great. This is a great album. I think the one definite redeeming quality is side 4, King Kong. I mean, King Kong is another one of my all-time favorite Zappa songs. But yeah, it's a really good album, but again, I'm ranking it at number 17. It's just, not one that I listen to all that often, although every time I do, I really, really enjoy it. All right, now coming in at number 16 is the only record from the Flo and Eddie years that shows up in my top 20 list. And that is Just Another Band from LA. This is a German pressing on Reprise label. This album, in spite of all the comedic material, which is understandably for a lot of people their least favorite period, but to me this record holds up. The other ones come off as at times as being really dated, plus there is some fairly objectionable material on some of the other releases. And you could say that Magdalena is objectionable material, but it is at least a fictitious story. I think the album is really great. Musically, everything about it to me, it hits on all cylinders musically, and I enjoy it. I have to admit, though, that the first time I ever heard it and really liked it was when it came out, and I was 14 years old. So I tend to have a little more of an affinity, I think, for the Flo and Eddie years because of how old I was when these albums were released. And I can see someone who didn't listen to the Flo and Eddie years until later adulthood would shake their head and go, what is this garbage? I get that. And a lot of the Flo and Eddie albums, as I say, are, this is the only one in my top 20. So, I love some songs on Chunga's Revenge and on Weasels Rip My Flesh, but some of the other songs are just kind of meh. All right, so Just Another Band from LA is at number 16. At number 15 is one I have not yet done a review for, and that is Shake Your Booty. Really, really solid, in my opinion, 2-record set. This does get panned as being one record with a second superfluous record. But this is also, which I'll go in more detail when I do a video on it. This is when Adrian Belew joined the band and sang Bob Dylan for Frank, which Frank really, really enjoyed. So yeah, Shake Your Booty. Also a couple songs on this record that, got Frank in a little hot water, but overall, I still really, really like this record. All right, so Shake Your Booty at number 15. At number 14 is The Grand Wazoo. And I have one here on the original Bazaar. So, The Grand Wazoo, what? You mean you might be rating Waka Jawaka higher than The Grand Wazoo? Well, you'll have to see. But yes, The Grand Wazoo is really a good album. I really like Eat That Question. That is such a great song to me. And you know, that's probably the redeeming song. And overall, it's a very good record, very solid recording. Certainly groundbreaking in some respects. And but yeah, number 14, The Grand Wazoo. Again, I've done a very thorough video on the background on this album. You should check it out about all the information on this crazy cover. All right, Grand Wazoo, number 14. Number 13 is Zappa and the Mothers, Roxy and Elsewhere. This is the original Discreet. Again, really good, solid live recording. It actually took me a little while to sort of cozy up to it. It wasn't, you know, when I initially heard it, I was kind of, but it has grown on me, and I do really like it. And, you know, I've done a review on it. So this is one of the few places, see, Frank was playing this Gibson guitar here, and the first time I saw Frank, he had that guitar, and I can't remember the details, but it seems to me that guitar, it might have turned up missing. I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe you do, and you could leave a comment in the Down Under. But there you go, Roxy and Elsewhere at number 13. I did not buy the expanded box set. I might still, but no. All right, number 12 is Bongo Fury. And I went back and forth on this, not because I don't rate this high, but because, you know, it's not strictly a Frank Zappa album. I mean, a good chunk, half the material is Captain Beefheart, all right? And so, yeah, to call it a Frank Zappa record, I mean, it was released by him. He calls it a Frank Zappa record. But yeah, that's kind of why I was like, yeah, do I want to include this, you know? But, you know, still a great recording, live recording. And of course, you know, I've done a video on all these others I've done videos on that you can check with my link to my Frank Zappa playlist in the Down Under, and you can find them. So yes, number 12, Bongo Fury. Number 11 is Zoot Allures. So this is also, I believe, the first record on Warner Brothers, all right? So just before this, he was on Discreet, and this is when, you know, they were coming out on Warner Brothers, and things kind of started happening with Warner Brothers. Anyway, it's a good album. It has one of the few specific songs where he talks about or makes any reference to use of cocaine. I mean, there's Cocaine Decisions, and then there's also the song from You Are What You Is. But Disco Boy has a little bit perhaps of an allusion to that. But there's some great, just absolutely great guitar work on here. Everything from, you know, the title song, Zoot Allures, to Friendly Little Finger. Of course, The Torture Never Stops, signature piece in many, many, many shows. You know, great variations on that. So that is number 11, Zoot Allures. Again, there's some very interesting background information on the cover that you can check out in my video about this release. Okay, now we're into the top 10. All right, at number 10, Lumpy Gravy. This record, and I have the Zappa reissue. I haven't bought an original yet. I see them on occasion, but they're not in very good condition, and I'm not exactly clear on the provenance most of the time. But anyway, Lumpy Gravy, I just really, really like this record. And although, and I mentioned this in the video about this, even the Zappa family trust refers to Hot Rats as Frank's first solo album. To me, this is his first solo album. I mean, he even tried to peddle it with another record company before Verve pulled him back in. This is great. It's got some really, you know, a lot of the spoken word kind of stuff or dialogue kind of stuff that, you know, Frank interjects in many of his albums sometimes comes off as an unpleasant interruption in the flow of the music. But it works really, really well in this one. And the orchestration of the other material is just really, really great. So yes, this is my number 10 album, Lumpy Gravy. Coming in number 9 is 200 Motels. And I guess you could call this a Flo and Eddie. I said that just another band from LA is the only Flo and Eddie that's in the bunch. Yeah, you can call it this. This is one of the new reissues, still sealed. I haven't opened it up yet. It's the red vinyl one. I opened the black vinyl one and I listened to that. It's amazing. You know, I've done a review on the reissue as well as I've done a review about, you know, a separate one, video on the record itself and its contents. This is really such an amazing recording, both in terms of the orchestral music that is involved in here, but also the pop music that is going on in here. Some of the songs in here are some of Frank's most amazing and brilliant pop gems. I mean, Mystery Roach, I just love that song. You know, Magic Fingers. It's just, but the orchestral material on here is just absolutely amazing as well. So at number 9, 200 Motels. All right, number 8 is Apostrophe. And this is a Zappa Records release. Apostrophe is one that I often recommend to people who are looking for something to get into Frank. It's probably one of his more accessible records, and it's got, you know, it's got comedic material, but it's not like so silly over the top. I mean, the Don't Eat the Yellow Snow suite. I mean, it's a suite. And virtually every time I believe he performed it live, he performed the entire suite. And then, of course, there's Cosmic Debris, which is another song that's also been in the concert repertoire, great for guitar solos. There is, let's see, what are the other songs on here? Or, you know, Stinkfoot, Cosmic Debris, right. And then, you know, I really do like the song Uncle Remus, which George Duke got a credit for the piano on that. And then, of course, it's the titular song Apostrophe, which is Frank jamming with Jack Bruce, and then the amazing Jim Gordon on drums. All right, so Apostrophe comes in at number 8. Number 7 is We're Only in It for the Money. And this is another one where I have the reissue, and I haven't bought an original yet because, again, when I find them, they're often not in great condition. And sometimes, you know, the covers are also pretty shabby. And then they're overpriced. They just really are overpriced. There are so many pressings of this record that, you know, it really, when I see it in the store for the price that some sellers are asking, it really shouldn't be marked at that price, considering how many early pressings we're talking about that are out there. But anyway, amazing, very tight concept album. It really is. Much tighter and much better in that respect than Freak Out. And there are just some great, great, great songs on here from start to finish. I mean, it's just an amazing record, and starting to sound like a broken record when I say these things. But be sure to check out my Frank Zappa playlist so that you can find the video on this one here. All right, so we're only in it for the money at number 7. At number 6 is this one here, Absolutely Free. And this is a first mono pressing. I have a stereo pressing, then I have the Zappa Records reissue. I like this one so much better than Freak Out, because I believe it's compositionally, it is tighter. The songs work very well together and flow right along together. It is one of my favorites, sort of, to use a hackneyed phrase, dear to my heart. The first time I ever heard it I was like 10 years old when it was released. My brother had it. And, even then I recognized this as a very amazing and interesting record, even though a lot of the material was like completely over my head. But musically, it was just an amazing record. And it has continued to be among my favorites. It's one that I will listen to, with some relative frequency, because it is such a great recording. So at number 6, Absolutely Free. Now we're into the top 5. All right. And so, everybody has different tastes. Everybody has different rankings. And you're probably wondering, where is this one record going to show up that I haven't heard of talk about? And I'm going to bet you one of those records you haven't heard me talk about, you're not going to hear me talk about in this list. Okay, so number 5 is Waka Jawaka. And this is a Japanese pressing that I got. This, this was released after Just Another Band from LA. And I talk about this in my video. And this, to me, it was such an amazing, amazing record. The material on here is absolutely, it's just incredible, with the big band sound and Sal Marquez and all the other people who were involved in the song, or in the production of this. Even when you've got, it's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of like Burt Weenie's Sandwich, that, Burt Weenie's Sandwich has the 2 doo-wops on the outside, and then the other avant-garde material in the middle, like a sandwich. This one is kind of like that too, because you've got Big Swifty, and the big jazz fusion masterpiece, and then you got the 2 songs, Your Mouth and It Just Might Be a One-Shot Deal, which are a little bit anomalous, but fit in the middle there. And then the closer, Waka Jawaka, another really great jazz fusion piece. It's just, I really, really like this. At the time when I got it, I was like 14, 15 years old. None of my friends liked it because it's not comedy music, man. It's just instrumental. But I really like Waka Jawaka. All right, number 4, Overnight Sensation. And this one I have on Discreet Records, and I have a Zappa record release, and I have a couple other pressings of this. This record is, as it is stated, it was an overnight sensation. While it was released ahead of Apostrophe went gold first, and this went gold afterward. And probably the most famous song that people recognize this release for is Dynamo Hum. But really, I Am the Slime, Dirty Love, and two of my favorite songs because of the guitar solos, Zombie Wolf and Montana. I swear to God, whenever I play this record, I crank it because of those two songs. Just really thrill me when I am listening to it. Obviously, check out my playlist in the Down Under for my full review of that. Number 3, Hot Rats. And this is a special Newbery comic with the purple splatter vinyl reissue. I've got the box set, the CD box set of the Hot Rat Sessions. It is, normally I won't buy that kind, like, some of the other box sets that have like all the full sessions or whatever. I am just fascinated by how these different songs were put together. I love that box set, and I really love this album. Especially Ian Underwood's saxophone playing. His piano playing is just incredible as well. Shuggie Otis was 15 years old when he was playing bass on some of the songs. And, there's Willie the Pimp, obviously, but the Gumbo Variations, that song has always been one of my favorites. It's just an amazing jam. Amazing saxophone playing by Ian Underwood. Excuse me. Then you got Sugarcane Harris on electric violin. And then, of course, Frank doing the guitar work. This is number 3, Hot Rats. And it's another probably good one for, diving into the Zappa repertoire, although, it's jazz fusion that smells a little funny, that's the best way to kind of describe this. It's definitely jazz rock. So you could say it was one of the pioneering jazz fusion, jazz rock records, because it came out about the time that In a Silent Way was released by Miles Davis, and then subsequently after that was Bitches Brew. And Miles Davis, probably rightly gets all the credit for inventing jazz fusion, but, Frank was on the same page at the same time. All right, now, number 2. This was a hard choice between 1 and 2. And I will admit, with my number 1 pick, it's sentimental value to that record plays a very big role in me positioning it as number 1. But for number 2 is One Size Fits All. An incredible, and this is on the Barking Pumpkin Records. It is, again, one of the tightest records from start to finish, in my opinion. Just great songs, opening up with the amazing Inca Roads, which George Duke, he sounds incredible on it, but apparently George Duke had a lot of trouble playing some of the material for that. Even some of the other songs like, Can't Afford No Shoes, it's just so great. And then there is, running out of light here, Sofa Number 1, and then Pajama People, which I talk about it, in my full review of this record. But Pajama People is sort of Frank's reference to some of the boring musicians that were on tour with him prior to this. Frank was, in a way, a voyeur, in that he got a lot of his material from eavesdropping on people in the band, and he wanted people who were crazy. He wanted people who were going to run out after a show and find some action and that kind of thing. He wanted that so that he could use it for material. And for a while, he was touring with, great musicians like Jean-Luc Ponty and Ruth Underwood and Ian Underwood, but they were Pajama People. They didn't do anything that he could write about. All right, number 1 is Burnt Weenie Sandwich. I had that on the Bazaar, and to me, this is an incredible album. It is pure genius. Even with the simple doo-wop opener and closer. Then you have all this amazing avant-garde, jazz, musique concrète all put together in some amazing compositions. And some of his early, you could hear some of the early references to some of the songs on earlier albums, like We're Only in It for the Money. But, they reach a fuller, they are birthed as full songs. Holiday in Berlin, for example, or The Little House That I Used to Live In, Igor's Boogie. I used to listen to this record with headphones, and I would just love the way that on the end of, on the end of side 2, just before the doo-wop closer, you've got Ian Underwood doing piano work on ABC, and it's just so beautiful and soothing, and the way it just drifts off into, his delicate touching of the keys. It's just, it really is an amazing and brilliant album to me, and it is my all-time favorite Burnt Weenie Sandwich. That's my number 1. So those are my top 20, and a couple that you probably are going, well, wait a minute, where's Joe's Garage? Yeah, Joe's Garage isn't, doesn't make my top 20. And I'll probably, I will talk about it more as to why it doesn't make my top 20 when I do a video that is devoted to that. There's some great stuff on Joe's Garage. Don't get me wrong. There's, of course, the amazing guitar solo from Watermelon and Easter Hay, which is probably by most Zappophiles is identified as his number 1 guitar solo. It is truly a transcendent guitar solo. But there's other material on it that's, just not that great to me. And then another one that you probably are wondering, well, why wasn't it in the top 20, is Reuben and the Jets. And, I like Reuben and the Jets. I really enjoyed that record. But at the same time, it just seemed to be a little bit too anachronistic to count it as part of the, Frank and that. It's just my thinking about it. And while I really do enjoy it, it really doesn't make my top 20. It's a good record. I really, really do like it. But yeah, it's these other records that I just talked about are definitely, I rate them higher than Reuben and the Jets. So there you have it, my top 20s. If you want to list your top 20 or top 10 or top 5 or whatever, and a comment in the Down Under, please do. Reactions to, some of the placements on some of the records, in there, why is Uncle Meat so low? Whatever that might be. Hey, that's fine. It's all good. Leave a comment in the Down Under. And be sure to check out my playlist so that you can see the individual videos that I had done on most of the other albums. And as I said, I'll be getting to those other albums that I have not yet done videos very soon, definitely within probably the next month or so. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that. And like and subscribe. Remember that I am also on Instagram, which my handle on Instagram is newsdude76. That's NEWZDUDE76, where I generally post photos and images of, what I happen to be listening to, as well as photos and images of other things that I like to take photos of. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that, and always remember to pray for the people inside your head, for they won't be there when you're dead.